Hey, what's up, guys? I am continuing my coverage into this bombshell FTX grifter lawsuit. And so now what we're going to go ahead and do is go over the counts in this case. And although I am not a lawyer, I am a compliance officer, and reading laws is literally what I do every single day in my day job. I mostly read statutes regarding insurance because that's just the industry that I happen to work in. But regardless, I do know how to read statutes and laws and determine how certain states define certain words, like in this case, agent, director, and things like that. So yeah, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and go over the counts in this case because I think that that's valuable, and I think that that's something that you guys would actually care about. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to go over count one. So if you go ahead and you look at count one, number 188, it says that the defendants are agents of the FTX entities pursuant to Florida Statute 517211. The FTX entities with the defendants' material assistance offered and sold the unregistered yield-bearing accounts to plaintiffs and the members of the class. As a result of this assistance, the defendants violated Florida Statute 51707, and plaintiffs and members of the class sustained damages as herein described. So what they're saying here is that the defendants, which are the YouTubers, are individuals who acted on behalf of FTX in offering and selling yield-bearing accounts to the plaintiffs and other members of the class. Now, this is bad because the lawsuit is alleging that these accounts constitute as unregistered securities, and because it's being alleged that these are securities, the lawsuit is saying that these YouTubers are liable regardless of their intent for all of the investor losses. Now, some people in the comments and all over social media have been saying that these YouTubers actually did disclose their sponsorship, the fact that their sponsorship with FTX was a paid sponsorship, which is true. I've taken a sponsor before, and it's absolutely required by law and YouTube itself that when we disclose, that we do go ahead and disclose when something is a paid promotion. However, remember, guys, the lawsuit is saying that they believe that FTX is a security, and the laws are much different when someone is promoting a security rather than just doing a sponsorship for like some product. The SEC states that any individual who promotes a token that is a security must disclose the nature, scope, and the amount of compensation received in exchange for the promotion. So because these YouTubers didn't disclose how much money they were compensated, if the court finds that FTX is a security, then this could really end up being bad news for these YouTubers. Now, I've looked at a bunch of different SEC cases and different cases that allege that crypto is a security, and what I found is that just about all of them resulted in a very favorable ruling for the SEC or the plaintiff in saying that crypto is a security. So honestly, it's very possible that the court could rule that FTX is a security. However, YouTubers do have one thing that could save them. Now, I looked at some of the court's decisions in how they interpreted agent liability under section 517211. The reason this is important is because the lawsuit claims that the YouTubers are agents of the FTX entities pursuant to Florida Statute 517211. So what I did was I looked at the court's decisions on this, and what I found is that the court actually held that the defendant who had provided limited assistance in the sale of securities was not an agent under the statute because he did not have active or direct involvement in the sales process of that security. So we've already seen how the court has ruled on this before, and they believe that there has to be direct or active involvement by the agent, which in this case would be the influencers, in order for them to be liable. So the key factor here in determining agent liability under section 517211 is whether the defendants had a sufficient level of involvement or participation in the sale of the securities. The court has already said in other cases that defendants must have a degree of involvement in the sale of securities beyond merely providing assistance or recommendations to the investors. So this court case is going to get very interesting. Now, if the court finds that these YouTubers promoted the crypto yield-bearing accounts, which is their FTX sponsorship, without disclosing the risk or obtaining proper registration, then they could be held liable under the Florida Securities and Investor Protection Act. I know all of this is a lot, but I'm trying to explain this as simply as I can. I hope I'm doing a decent job of explaining this in simple terms. But yeah, it's going to get very interesting because, like I said, if Florida finds that this whole FTX stuff is a security, then now the conversation shifts to whether the agent had active or direct involvement in the sale of that security or in the sales process. So that's where it's going to get very interesting, and I have no idea how the outcome of this is going to go. But again, this adds more to kind of what I was saying of I really don't think this lawsuit is going to get dismissed. I know the defendants are very likely going to, I mean, they are, let's be real, they are. They're going to do everything they can to file a 12B1 motion. I think that's the name of it, but it's a motion to dismiss the case. I don't think the case is going to get dismissed. Okay, so now count 2 is the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, statute 501201. This law prohibits unfair competition as well as illegal or dishonest trade practices. Now, this lawsuit says that plaintiffs and consumers in the classes have been aggrieved by the defendant's unfair and deceptive practices and acts of false advertising by paying into the Ponzi scheme that was the FTX platform and in the amount of their lost investments. The harm suffered by plaintiffs and consumers in the classes was directly and proximately caused by the deceptive and unfair practices of the defendants, as more fully described herein. Okay, so what they're saying is that the plaintiffs were harmed by the defendants' unfair and deceptive practices and false advertising, and that this harm was the result of investing in the FTX platform, which the plaintiffs are alleging was a Ponzi scheme. The plaintiffs are also saying here that they lost money as a result of this, and they claim that this loss was directly caused by the defendant's deceptive and unfair practices. So this is a pretty straightforward claim, and I do personally believe that this claim does have some merit. Ultimately, it's going to be something for the courts to decide, but I do think that this is a pretty valid claim that they're making, in my personal opinion. Count 3 is civil conspiracy. This one I don't agree with. Civil conspiracy is basically when several individuals or entities agree to commit an unlawful act or to achieve a lawful objective, a lawful objective by unlawful means. So this claim is making it seem like this was some sort of agreed upon plan. Now, for me personally, although these YouTubers pretty much all work for the exact same agency, I don't think that they all conspired together to promote FTX and screw investors. What I think happened is it was just pure greed. Creators agency saw the money that FTX was paying and distributed that FTX money to all of their creators in the agency who agreed to do the sponsorship. I don't think these guys sat in a dark, creepy room and conspired together to do this whole thing. So that's really just kind of my thoughts with count 3. I don't really see it. I don't think and it's weird too, because I know some people are going to be like, well, it's weird that this weird agency has all the biggest creators all together. One thing that I do know, I definitely think there's some fishy, weird stuff going on. But I don't think that just because all these creators are signed to the same agency that they all have these group meetings where all of them are sitting together like, yeah, we're going to all buy FTX and screw people. I just really don't think that. I think the problem is Erica Kohlberg and Apple Kreider, who are in charge of that agency, they have a lot of power because they have so many of the biggest finance influencers under their wing. And I think it becomes dangerous because they fail to read the fine print, as Erica Kohlberg claims she does, and fully determine if what they were promoting is a legit investment. That's my issue. Apple Kreider and Erica Kohlberg didn't care. Whatever freaking sponsorship came their way and was offering big money, they took it. That's it. They took it. They didn't care. There was no integrity here. That's the main issue. And the problem a lot of us have is you have so much power because you have all of the biggest finance creators on YouTube under your wing who are pushing these financial products that hurt a lot of people. That's the main issue. But I don't think there was any conspiracy behind this. So I just want to be honest there. So count 3, I don't think that'll go anywhere. Count 4 is a very simple one. So count 4 is declaratory judgment. And what they're trying to do here is the plaintiff and the class are simply seeking an order that declares that yield-bearing accounts were securities and that the FTX platform did not work as represented and the defendants were paid large sums of money to basically promote a security. That's literally all that's happening here. And for me personally, there's not a whole lot to say about that count. They're just trying to get the court to just immediately say this is a security. That's really all that's going on. So yeah, that's really my only opinions here. So yeah, in terms of the lawsuit, after spending hours of research and reading everything and reading the entire lawsuit, I think counts 1 and 2 are definitely the strongest. Count 3, probably not going to stand. And then count 4, we already explained that. That's just, they're asking the court to do whatever. Count 1 and 2 are going to be the toughest. Count 1 is the most dangerous because count 1 is what could really get them in a lot of trouble and could even get them into SEC or government trouble if they find out or rule that FTX is a security. And I just want to say, it's really hard for me to feel bad for these grifters. I mean, like I said, I've made it clear. I hate to see anybody get sued. But for me personally, these guys weren't going to do anything anyway. So I think this is their karma. That's what you get. Maybe if you apologize, maybe the universe would have had it where you wouldn't have gotten sued. But these guys they didn't care. They gave garbage apologies, like these scripted BS apologies. Never gave the money back, never gave any real action that made anybody feel good. Like when you watch their apologies, anybody with some sort of integrity or morality or just decency could just easily see right through it. Like, people who have empathy and care for other human beings could easily look at these trash apologies and just say like, yeah, dude, this is all BS. You're just trying to get the heat off you. Like, you don't really care. So, it sucks to see people get sued, but I think this situation is different than Spencer Cornelia. I actually do feel bad for Spencer Cornelia because even though I've been very hard on him, I think he's a good guy. I think he's just made a tremendous mistake. And I think what he did in defending his friends and being friends with them was very hypocritical, But with the grifters, I have a totally different opinion. I think some of them, I can't speak on all of them, like Jaspreet Singh, I don't know him. From what I've heard from people, he seems to actually be a pretty good guy, so I can't really speak on him. But in terms of some of these other grifters that are named the lawsuit and defendants, I think they are inherently evil people. That's really what I think. I think they're bad people. I think they would sell their souls for money. They'd sell their mothers for money. That's really what I think. I think they'll do anything for money. And it gets really dangerous. And I think that with Creators Agency, in terms of the conspiracy thing, I don't think the conspiracy thing will work. I don't think it has any merit. But it does say something to the fact that these guys all work for the same agency. I just think that was such a bad idea. I don't know why these guys would do it. Well, I know why they did. They did it because of greed. This agency is really good at finding brand deals for creators and paying them lots of money, like $5,000 a video or something like that, or even more, $20,000 a video like what FTX did. So I think this is a great learning lesson. I think the ultimate thing I can say is I hope that these grifters learn from it. I do want to be honest, guys. I think some of these grifters, because I don't think all of these grifters who are in this lawsuit are completely evil. I think some of them, hopefully they learn from this and they change their ways and they turn out to be better people. But regardless of what happens, this lawsuit's going to sting. It's going to sting. And they better hope to God that the court doesn't rule FTX as a security or say that them as agents are liable, because they got some real pain coming. So, all right, guys, I blabbered enough. This video took how long did this video take? I'd say this video took a good 7-8 hours to make with all the research and stuff. So if you appreciate all the effort that goes into these videos, definitely feel free to leave a like down in the comments. I know some people have already gotten the comments, why are you wearing a suit in your videos? Well, it's because I want to. I didn't think I needed an explanation. The funny part is I actually have already worn suits in my videos. Like, this isn't new. Like, I've been wearing suit jackets and dress shirts in my videos. I just started putting on a tie. That's it. That's the only difference. And why did I decide to put on a tie? Well, I don't know. I just feel like wearing a suit and tie. That's how it goes. So there you guys have it. Thanks so much for watching, and see you guys in the next one.